Welcome back to the tool crib. I thought I'd give you guys an update on how the shop is coming out. So I got my drill press station here. I got my compressor up in the corner. As we pan around here, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get rid of these shelves. Still got stuff packed in here that we're still working on, but we're getting there. Over here in this zone is where the motors are sitting now, is where the plasma table is eventually going to go. The blast cabinet is going to be relocated. It's probably going to be in that area, but it's going to be turned at 90 degrees. Got my saw set up. And one of the things that I'm really glad that I did was integrated all these different shelves underneath of the lower purlin. So here for the drill station, I have all my drill components, and I got some extra stuff there that eventually is going to get moved. We were able to do that. I started out, I knew I was going to do this with a bolt bin, but I liked it so much and how space saving it was that I decided to make integrated shelves throughout the shop. So that turned out really well. I've got electrical components in this zone, still got screws and hardwares over there, other hardware over there. Some just stuff that I've collected over the years, shelving brackets, locks, stuff like that, that we're probably going to get shifted around into different places later, but for the time being, they're just stored on the shelf. A lot of the automotive stuff is back there. In the very back, I have paint cans. I still have to make a steel rack on the back side right now. So back here, we just have the steel set on the floor, and eventually it's all going to be on a rack. I'm going to have a rack for this side that's going to house up to 24 footers, and then we're going to build another one along this wall over here that's going to house the short stock. And over here, I ran the conduit behind so that when I put the uprights in for that steel rack, they're not going to interfere. Got my saw set up and got the 220 ran to it. I put another outlet here because eventually I'm going to set up so I have my other two saws, the dry cut and the abrasive cut saw, so that they'll be able to utilize these same rollers. Now for these rollers, what I did was we mounted plates onto the floor, bolted them in, and then we lasered everything to level. And then once we had gotten that done, we tacked the bolts off so that they would be solid. And that turned out really well. Those things are really stable. The welding tables right now, they're just kind of stacked back here because I got the forklift in here. But they're on wheels and they can be moved around. Still got set up where I'm going to put my torch bottles that will go into the torch reel up there. On the other side, I have some just extra tooling in the back. Have a bay for my iron working tooling, a bay for some of my Milwaukee cordless stuff. And then we utilize 3 bays here for the DeWalt cordless stuff. And eventually, if I need more room, I've got a couple extra shelves that I built on this side as well that I might be able to rearrange stuff and have some of my other DeWalt stuff over here. We built a clamp rack. We also built a hammer rack down below. One of the things that we did is we put, I have a bunch of these chargers from all the tools that I've bought over the years. So we utilized these, we bolted these into the bin, or into the beam, the column, I'm sorry, and then set a couple of boxes here. So I still got room to put a couple of Milwaukee chargers that I need to purchase because I've got them utilized in the trailer right now. And for that, we just ran that conduit up and over and brought it back down to the other side. Now, like I said, eventually I'm hoping to get rid of some of these shelves. You know, we're probably 70% there. There's a lot that goes into getting all this stuff arranged, but it's starting to turn out pretty well. Now for my office stuff, I finally got my office built. So what I did was I built a wall so that all my tables and stuff would go up against a wall instead of being up underneath purlin, and sheeted that with plywood. That allowed me to have shelves for all the flashlights and Leatherman product, well, Leatherman boxes. Most of my, all my multi-tool stuff goes in this one. So by doing that, I gained a lot of shelf space, and by supporting this upper purlin, that also gives me the top purlin to use as a shelf. Now for the electrical on here, and this is true of both sides, I ran this into a single box, And then it has high and low. And we ran those on separate circuits because I knew I was going to have a lot of electrical components, a lot of chargers, be that for computers or other electronics, flashlights, stuff of that nature. So I made sure that I put those on separate circuits. This shelf is really kind of in the way, and eventually it's going to get moved. I'm actually thinking about building custom shelves because I'm going to get a couple of toolboxes, probably a 72-inch bench box that I can, well, my thought is that I'm going to put it inside of a built shelf. It'll have shelves on the back, and it'll kind of be encased where it'll have, I can't even think of the name of it right now. The pegboard, steel pegboard that will go on the outer skin. That way I'll be able to set and hang a lot of other more long or elongated tools that don't necessarily go in the box. And so eventually all of this stuff that you see here will be moved, especially the mowers. So we're getting there. I mean, I still have air lines to run. The only one that I've ran so far was up to this reel. And on the other side, next to that torch reel is where another air reel is going to go. So we still have to run the air lines. I want to get air back to the iron worker. I also want to get an air drop. Obviously I need one for the blast cabinet, but I like to have a little one here for blowing off the saw as well. So there's still a little ways to go, but we are coming along. So this is the shop so far. I'm thinking it's a little dimmer than I want it to be, so I got some more lights on the way, and I think I'm going to add in a couple of more UFO lights up top to brighten everything up just a little bit more. But once the forklift's out of here and you're able to move stuff around with the forklift and those mowers, there's quite a bit of working room. So the way I'm setting it up is working out pretty nicely. I'm pretty happy with it. So this is a 40 by 50, 2,000 square feet. And I think in the end, you know, you always want more floor space, but I had to do what I could afford to do right now. And for 40 by 50, it's coming out pretty decent. It'll be a lot nicer when I get that steel rack built in the back and get all that steel up off the floor where everything is accessible. I can see it where everything is and get to it very, very quickly. Well, this is just an update on the shop for those that are interested. Hopefully you guys can garner some ideas from some of the stuff that I'm doing. And if you have any ideas on how to, you know, store different tooling and stuff, put it in the comments below. I'd love to listen to what you guys have done and see how you stored some of your tools. And I might integrate some of them here in my shop. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.